Hello everyone, Kevin Stevenson here with GetMeTheGeek.com, and we're here to talk to you today about TrueNAS and NextCloud and how to set up an SSL cert for your NextCloud instance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use Nginx Proxy in a jail on your TrueNAS machine, do a Let's Encrypt certificate, and proxy that to your NextCloud instance. All right. Just as a little bit of background, I did a video previously on using Nginx Proxy Manager, and it's set up using Docker and a VM and everything in TrueNAS. I had lots of comments about, oh, that's a lot of stuff, a lot of effort to go ahead and create a VM and a lot of resources. So this is going to be a low resource because we're going to use a jail, a FreeBSD jail, which is part of TrueNAS. It's kind of like their own native Docker container system, and that's going to host our Nginx proxy. Now, just so you know, you could do this same Let's Encrypt stuff on the actual NextCloud instance. The reason why I don't do that is because when the jail updates or when the plugin updates, redoes stuff, and then some of that customization, it might break stuff. So I feel like this has a little bit better chance of staying stable. So let's get started. All right, here we go. Here is my desktop. This one happens to be running 12.0-U1. It needs to be updated, but it's just part of my system here. So we're going to go down there to plugins, and as you can see, I have an NextCloud instance right here. Here it is. There are files and stuff. It's working, right? Now we're going to go here to jails, and you'll see that I have one here already set up, and this is the one that I used to test this out. We're just going to jump right in. First things first, we're going to add a jail. Give it its name. Reverse proxy. Okay. Default's fine. Then you need to pick what version you want. I'm going to pick 12.2. We're going to click Next. Now, here's what you want to do. So, two things to pick here. Number one, pick the VNet. And then number two, if you want a static IP address, you can go ahead and set that here. I'm just going to use DHCP because I'm going to handle that later. You can set the static IP address here, but for my purposes, I'm going to use DHCP because I don't care. This is just a temporary thing. Okay, so you want that and you want that. So you can click on those. It will give you the information, what these are doing. So, okay. So go ahead and hit next. Here's a short little summary of what you have, and then hit submit. And then it's going to bing, bang, boom, take your jail. Now, while we do that, I'm going to hydrate. And as you can see, this one right here is up, or it's not up, but it is made. So let's go ahead and click start. It's going to fire that baby up. We're going to switch over to doing most of the stuff through SSH. So if you don't have SSH turned on, go down to services, roll on down to SSH, go in here and edit it, check, give yourself a root password, and then turn it on. So I recommend that you turn this back off after you're done with your configuration, but it just makes it easier to use this rather than going through the terminal that's built into TrueNAS. Okay, we're going to SSH into that guy. And we're in. You do an IO cage list, right? And that is going to show you the list of all of the jails that you have up and running. So number 3 is the one we're actually looking for. So let's just go ahead and get into there. There we go. So this is inside the jail. So if you do a working directory, you're going to see we're at root, right? And this is all the stuff here. So, okay. Alrighty. So now that we're in there, the next thing we need to do is start doing some updates. All right. So for FreeBSD TrueNAS, it's just PKG update. PKG update. Haha, look. And while that's doing that, I will hydrate. Ah, that was quick. Okay, so here's the things you want install, or like I want to install. So we'll just do a pkg install. We need Nginx. We need Nano, because that's my preferred text editor, and Python. So we do that, and then it's going to give all these things. This is what it's going to install. And you say yes, and voila! Magic happens. We need to do this. And basically what we have right here is going to tell Nginx to start when the jail does. Okay? Do that. Boom. Now, next up is to install the certbot in OpenSSL. PY38 dash. Now you might be asking, well, how do I know which Python one to pick? If you scroll back up here, you see this right here, 38. That's how you know. Yours may differ. So now you've got Nginx running, you've got the certbot ready. What do we want to do? Well, let's do a little test here, right? The first thing we want to do is, since we have Nginx running, right? We have at least set up and installed, let's test. So first of all, we need to find out what IP address this guy got. If there you go. And if you look right here, we're going to get this 152 address. All right. So let's go up here. And nothing. Why? You say? It's not actually running. Okay. So we're going to do this. It's going to do a check, sanity check, configuration check. Everything's good, good, good. Now, if I go up here again, welcome to Nginx. So now we have our Nginx proxy. Right now we just have Nginx up and running. Okay. So that is success number one. Now, what do we need to do? We need to get our cert, and then we have to set up Nginx as SSL capable, HTTPS, and then we also have to do proxy. You need to do a couple things. Number one, now that you have it running on port 80 up and running, you can go ahead and stop that. So I'll show you how to stop that. And it's the same command you did. You just change start to stop. So from your router side, you need to do a port forward to port 80 and port 443 to this IP address of the Nginx jail. In my case, it's 192.168.11.152. So you'll do a port forward in your router. Your mileage is going to vary on what router you have on as to how you actually do that. So we're not going to cover that in this video. I think I have some videos on how to do it in pfSense. Most of the time, you just hop into your router and you look for port forward or something like that, and you just pop it in there. So good luck on that. There's just so many routers out there, especially on the home network, that it's just not really feasible for me to show you that and it'd be effective for you guys. But I tell you how to do it. Once you get that done, come back to this, hit your public IP address with the in your browser, and you should get Nginx. Okay. All right. So once you've got that set up, you can do your cert. So you need a domain. So go out, buy a domain if you don't already have one. I recommend Hover. I've got an affiliate link down at the bottom. If you use my Hover link, then I get a little bit of credit. Thank you very much if you do that. Purchase your domain, and then you'll need to point your domain to your public IP address using Hover or whatever your domain registrar is. Okay, so get those two things done and then come back. I'll wait. All right. So you've got those things done, and now you're ready to do the next step. The next step is to go ahead and create that cert. So you go certbot, cert only, dash dash, standalone, right? Dash D, and then the domain. And there you have it. Now I have a cert. So what do we do now? Well, that's great. All right. So now that we have our certificate, let's go ahead and start our Nginx again. Should be no problem. Nginx still running. Okay. Now we need to make some changes to Nginx. So let's go ahead and stop that. /cd/ user local Nginx. All right. So here we are. Now, you see that there is the Nginx configurator. So let's nano that guy. All right, so here it is. Scroll through your Nginx configuration file and just take a look at it. First things first, you're going to come to this one right here, which is the HTTP. And it's going to give you a bunch of stuff here, right? And server. So this part right here is not commented out. So yeah, it's listening on port 80, localhost. Here's where your index file is in the root of the web server. If you keep going on down, you're going to see some alternative configurations, virtual IP, virtual hosts. And so that if you want to do other host names, and also here's one for SSL, which we're going to take this information and push it up into the other one. So we'll do HTTP and HTTPS all in one. And so, yeah. So that is that. Now, what I want you to do is go back up here and take notes of your certificate locations. Right. So you hear successful certs. Here is where your certs are located, right? So I recommend going ahead and taking up a notepad, popping up a notepad, and taking and copying that information in there. Right? Easy peasy. Take this right here, there, and paste it. So just take this guy and hit enter. That way it's all nice and neat right there in front of you. So you're going to need these locations of the PIMs here for the cert and the private key at a later second. All right, so scroll back all the way down to the bottom. We're going to go ahead and edit our config again. Let's go down here and we're going to add some stuff into the server location, right? So first things first is we need to let it listen on HTTPS. So if you notice that, we can do that. You go down here, you can copy paste, you type this in, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So you see this right here, let's listen, all right? So you can go back up. And I highlighted that. And come right down here. And then right click, and that'll paste that information in there, right? Now you can go over here and you can line that up nice and pretty like that. So that will allow it to listen on HTTPS 443. But wait, there's more. You've got to have the cert and all this other stuff. So you take this right here and you copy that in there. So we're going to take this stuff, right? And this is the same as up the bottom. We're going to go right back up to our initial HTTP one. When we get up there, here it is. Now, take and you paste that in right there. Boom, right? So all this stuff is commented out. So you just open, delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that. Now, what you need to do is, if you remember, we took note of where those certificate and the keys are. So you pull up your document, and this guy right here. And so we're going to get the cert. So we're going to copy this location right here. Copy. All right. You come back over here. You go to this cert, remove this, and then paste that. Oops. Paste that in. There it is. I'm going to make this a little bigger so that it doesn't do that wacky thing. So you put that full length in there, and this will be for this domain. Now, in this particular case, we're only doing one domain. So now we also need to change this key here. So we go back to our doc, and here's the key. We copy that, and we paste that in here. So there's our cert and our key. Boom. So now, in theory, she should all work. So let's hit Control X and save it. Now let's go ahead and go back to our start one. Boom. And it says everything's good. So we can reload our page. Looks good, right? Now let's reload it again with HTTPS. Right? Going to give you this error, and that's because we're going to the IP address and not the domain. All right? So boom, there it is. Let's open a new tab, and we'll go to the public version of that, right? So if you remember, it was GG, boom. Ah, and look, not secure. Well, let's just change that to HTTPS. And boom. And now we get the perfect little lock. Everything is wonderful. We get a cert. It's all happy. And that brings us to the next step. So what do we want to do now? Well, we have to go ahead and set up our Nginx, or excuse me, we have to go set up our NextCloud. So if we go back to NextCloud, which we had up here somewhere. So here's our NextCloud instance. You see this right here? This 8082, it's HTTP. So we're going to put that in there, and we're going to add a proxy. Okay? So let's go back to our config. Well, first of all, let's stop it. Right? And let's go back to our proxy, our configuration, and add this proxy information here. And so what's going to change in this document right now is down here in this location, right? So we don't need this. So we're going to put that there. We don't need this because we're going to add a new line in there, which is going to be our proxy information. And so basically, it's called proxy pass is the statement. And paste that in, right? So let me just get that over there. Nice and neat. So proxy pass to the HTTP address, and that should get us there. If you notice, that local IP address is the same as the NextCloud instance, right? So we hit save, X, and then we go ahead and we start Nginx again. It says the config is fine, test successful. Now we'll go back over to our here and just reload. Okay, I think it just took it a minute. Let's go ahead and change this to, yeah. And so now we're all HTTPS, right? Let me go ahead and log into, all right, so NC admin, right? Paste that in, log in, and boom, boom. All right, so here we are, fully secured HTTPS on our NextCloud instance. You can go up here, you can create a new document, a new text document that says, hey, that's just a markdown document. And that's what it is. So let's pull up this video. Boom, yes. So, and some photos, here's a bird. And remember, that's all going HTTPS. You got your Let's Encrypt set up, and then you're up and ready to go. So that's it. All right. Okay. Again, I'm Kevin Stevenson with GetMeTheGeek.com. If you got something out of this video, please go ahead and like and share. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications. Buy me a coffee if you want to. I know this one was kind of requested quite a bit, so hopefully I answered all your questions. If I didn't, go ahead and shoot me comments down below, and I will either respond in a video or see what we can do there, answer your questions. Just remember, NextCloud is a great alternative to Google Drive or Dropbox or SharedPoint or anything like that you can host yourself, keep your data safe. It works really well on TrueNAS. Now, coming up soon, when the TrueNAS scale comes out of release and is full blown, we'll have Docker versions. I'm sure we'll have all new videos about that stuff. So stay tuned for that stuff. We'll see you next time. I'm Kevin Stevenson. Have a great weekend.